Hello everyone, I'm DaveAce and welcome back to the channel. So let's go ahead and do like a deep dive video into Crash Team Rumble. I'm 4 days late to doing this. It was me going back and forth whether or not I wanted to do this. I'm gonna be breaking down the trailer, going over my thoughts and opinions on the game. Let's go ahead and get right into it. So when this first dropped, I was very hyped. I was very excited, and I love the concept of it. It's a multiplayer Crash Bandicoot game that reminds me of like a MOBA in some sense, where you're going head to head in team battles of 4v4 collecting Wumpa Fruit, and of course the team with the most Wumpa Fruit at the end wins the game. So the characters that you get to play as so far are Crash, Tawna, Embryo, Femtropy, which was a very interesting pick in my opinion. I know they're trying to highlight her more in the games. They did that with Crash Bandicoot on the Run, but I was very interested to see her here and not like actual Entropy. So again, very interesting selection. Wouldn't be surprised if Entropy gets into the games at some point later on down the line, because I don't feel like this is the full roster. I feel like as we go on, it'll continuously add characters from the Crash Bandicoot franchise, both old and hopefully new. Coco, Cortex, Dingodile, and then a character that I'm very happy to see. Finally, I know everybody's happy to see Catbat. I can't wait to see more new characters like them in the game, and I really enjoyed the overall design of Catbat. I feel like Catbat's a really cool character, even though we don't know much about them. Hopefully we'll get to learn more about them in the game, and in future Crash Bandicoot games. I'm very much looking forward to this. Other than the characters, we obviously have the levels, and from here we can see that I want to say there's 2 levels showcased throughout this trailer. Obviously the first one we see is a CGI glimpse at what Insanity Beach looks like, and I think the other level that they showcase, where it's more like a sunset area, reminds me a lot of another area of Insanity Beach, unless this game has like a day and nighttime cycle for some of the levels. I'm not too certain, but I do want to believe that the 2 things that they showed off here are Insanity Beach. Anything past that could be a number of things. I could see the Wasteland getting in from Crash Bandicoot 4. I could see like a nice little Japanese inspired area from that one area in Crash Bandicoot 4. Like, I feel like a lot of areas from Crash Bandicoot 4 will be referenced here. So I'm very much looking forward to what else they come up with, and hopefully we'll get some new stuff in it as well. I think it'd be really interesting to see new environments and such. Getting into the gameplay aspect of it, we see a bit of gameplay here in between each of these small areas of CGI throughout the trailer. Obviously Crash has his iconic spin, so we'll be using that. Femtropy has like this cool ground pound attack that spreads orbs and affects people around that area, and Dingodile has like this really big spin compared to Crash's, so it might be a little bit more powerful. And Tawna has some kind of weird looking shield thing. You see her running with it in the first bit of gameplay, and then you see her running with it at Femtropy in it, and it kind of like it like hits her and like makes an explosion, unless that's like something that happens with Crash, or it like shields her or something. Maybe Tawna has like some kind of ability to run at a character and shield them from being attacked, or tries to get them out of that area. I'm not really too certain what I'm seeing here. And then moving on, as we see, Coco runs into this like little red highlighted area where a TNT crate can drop. So maybe there's like an event that takes place in the islands where, or certain areas have like certain things that happen in them. Then moving on from that, we get like a really quick like look at Coco diving into someone. It looks like Crash. I want to say it looked like Crash. From the look of it, it's more so like she used the TNT crate to like launch herself into Crash rather than her having some kind of dive move. There's like this red box after her that like could either be like something that you jump into and it gives you that like dash, but just how they pieced the clips together makes it look like she used the TNT crate to like fly into Crash there. We can see something shock Crash, so there's going to be some kind of like lightning item that I'm assuming you'll have to pass around, sort of like in Crash Bash, where it'll work in reverse, because I think the person holding the lightning item in Crash Bash, everyone else gets shocked. So maybe they reverse that to where someone who's holding the lightning item instantly gets shocked upon not being able to pass it off to someone else. But it could also be something with Brio here, because Brio we can see out of his grunt form, and he looks like he mainly uses his potions as ranged attacks. And from my opinion of looking over the trailer multiple times, it looks like his grunt form might be like an ultimate move, or like something that he can initiate when he's at a lower health to help. Like Crash could very well be getting shocked by whatever Brio threw in one of his flasks here, because it looks like one of his flasks has some kind of like bluish tint to it, or like some kind of item attached to it. And then moving on from that, we also get some gameplay of Cortex using his Evolvo ray gun to turn players into warthogs, which I think is a really unique aspect to it. It kind of makes the character defenseless and strips them of all their attacks, and they're gonna have to run around trying to avoid other people attacking them. And we can also see in the background we have a piranha plant, so dodge those as well. There might be like certain areas where certain things, certain enemies will spawn, and you'll have to take care of them or not be able to take care of them to keep your Wumpa fruit. After that, we can see Crash and Embryo running straight into a dive from Catbat, which looks really interesting. Again, don't know much about Catbat, but every single time I see them on the screen, it makes me excited, because I'm really looking forward to how they're going to implement them into future Crash games and just this game in general. Dingodile is seen sucking Crash with his that sounds weird out of context. He's sucking Wumpa fruit out of Crash, but this might resemble like a move that will be featured in the game, where you will be able to suck the player up, you know, get them closer to you with melee range. So that could be something, or like an ultimate, like maybe he can activate like big suckage mode and just like suck the player in, and that'll like give him the Wumpa fruit and all that. That would be pretty cool. And then from that, we can see Tawna jumping onto Dingodile and using some kind of like power up or some kind of like special move, which allows her to spawn the iron crates that like let you jump up higher. So that might be something you'll be able to do in the game. You might have like a power up where you can initiate a double jump or a higher double jump for a character who doesn't usually have a double jump. So that's actually pretty interesting. I can't wait to see how that's going to play out. And then right after that, we see Embryo transforming back into his grunt form, which again leads me to believe that this is like an ultimate that can be activated, or maybe it's just again something that he can activate if he's at a lower health range to help give him more of a kick, more of a fight back. And then Coco, you can see, pick up an Uka Uka mask, meaning it will probably have some kind of function in the game. And then right after that, we see Uka Uka spawning in events such as this meteor shower here, making it possible for him to summon maybe other events other than this meteor shower to make it more difficult to collect Wumpa. What's also very interesting about this little segment in the trailer, even though it's CGI, is you can see Coco collecting Wumpa fruit in the background and seemingly being unaffected by the event as she's wearing Uka Uka. Maybe meaning Uka Uka and Aku Aku can shield the player as they're going through the event. Maybe the player like picks up that mask, and then either Aku Aku or Uka Uka starts the event, and the person who has the mask has like some kind of pristine protection from everyone else in the game. And then from that, it's like a split second, like a split frame second, you can see Cortex either shot out or through a piano. So again, another like item that you'll likely be able to use in the game, which is really cool. And that's pretty much it for the trailer and everything that we can break down into Crash Team Rumble. As far as everything that I could see, it looks really fun, it looks amazing, and in my opinion is probably going to be one of the best multiplayer experiences for Crash since the original CTR, Crash Team Racing, and obviously Nitro Fueled that recently came out. Now, my overall opinion on the game, yeah, it's different. It's unique. I know there's been a lot of pushback. There's been a lot of like backlash towards this game because it's not a Crash Bash remake, or it's not Crash Bandicoot 5, or it's not something that leans into like what people are used to with Crash. And I'm gonna be completely honest, this backlash feels kind of ridiculous to me, just because Crash has always been the type of game that introduces a variety into gameplay. You know, you go from Crash 1, which was just purely platforming segment, but you also had the Warthog level where you rode the Warthog, and then you had the Boulders levels where you were running towards the screen, and then they upped it up in Crash Bandicoot 2 where they gave you the jet ski, And then they, instead of riding on the Warthog, you went with Polar, and they brought back the boulders. And then in Crash Bandicoot 3, they went haywire and just decided to give you, like, literally everything, all kinds of vehicle levels. And sometimes you would get those segments where you're running towards the camera. And then you have CTR, which is a racing game. And, I get it. I get it. Nobody wants a new thing for Crash. No one wants a new take for Crash, but I'm gonna be honest, I feel like we kind of need it, and this is something that Crash definitely needs, just because it's just like, I appreciate Crash Bandicoot 4 for what it did, and I appreciate the remakes that we got, but I think it's time to move on from trying to recreate that nostalgic feeling that we got with Crash and put him into something new. Not something that I know a lot of people want to hear, but in my opinion, this is the way that the Crash needs to go. We can't always rely on that old nostalgia to keep us going, because the more we get of it, the more it takes away for room for Crash to expand, in my opinion, because we would just keep on reiterating the same thing over and over again. I feel like this is something that should be accepted, because Crash, again, has always had a variety in gameplay, and it feels weird to see so many people against the idea of this game, considering, again, Crash has always been known for having a variety of gameplay. I do think it's going to be free to play. I think it's going to use the free-to-play model, where they're going to have a battle pass system set up, and they'll introduce characters seasonally. There obviously will be cosmetics, which leads to microtransactions, and if it's a free-to-play game, you should already be expecting microtransactions. But yes, that's, again, Crash Team Rumble. Let me know what you guys think of this game in the comments down below. I'm very excited for it. Again, I can't wait to see more of this game. It looks amazing. Man, it feels so good to have confirmation that Crash actually has something new coming out after waiting 2 years, because that 2-year wait was really daunting. I really thought that they pulled the plug on my favorite Bandicoot here, but thankfully not. Also, before I do end off this video, I did want to speak on a thing that I saw going around, where people were pointing out that there might be a possibility of Spyro and Ripto getting into the game, because on the website there's a pattern in one of the background pieces of the Crash Team Rumble section on the website, which shows like items that represent characters, and each character gets represented by one item. And someone pointed out that Catbat was already referenced in with one of the items being their chain necklaces, or chain necklace. And everybody was like, but what if the wings mean Catbat? But the wings actually don't look like Catbat wings. They actually look like Spyro wings. And then there's an amulet that looks like Ripto's amulet. So if we're getting Ripto and Spyro in this game, I am going to be so excited, because one, Spyro getting into something new and just overall being a character recognized is awesome. And then two, Ripto is my favorite Spyro villain, and it would be such a throwback to have him come back, because in the Crash Bandicoot and Spyro GBA crossover games, Ripto was the main villain. So it would really be cool to have Ripto and Cortex in the same game again, as well as just Ripto and Spyro in a Crash game again, just because that's something that I always found cool. So I'm very much looking forward to this. If you like this video, please don't forget to leave a like. Be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep up with more Crash Team Rumble content, because I'm going to be covering this game until its release. I'm going to try my best to, and even during release, I'm going to be doing my best to keep content flowing for this game. I'm going to be streaming it. I'm going to be making videos about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.